Hello and welcome to the State of Culture. I am Sohaila Kapoor. In the last episode, we tracked the women from Saarc countries who participated in an international conference on gender and violence in the capital titled Gender, Community and Violence, Changing Mindsets for Empowering the Women of South Asia. Organized by the Dr. K.R. Narayanan Center for Dalit and Minority Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia and the South Asian Women's Network. We present the second part of our report today. The principal objective of the conference was to focus on the issue of the mindset change needed for bringing in gender equality, gender empowerment and sustainable development in South Asia. The participants in this international conference included high dignitaries, parliamentarians, academicians, policymakers, gender activists and NGO leaders, and representatives from the judiciary from India and partner South Asian countries like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. The conference focused on policy recommendations, advocacy programs and networking in order to achieve its objectives. The organizers proposed to publish the papers and agreed outcome of the conference.
We consider ourselves very fortunate. I think we live in the part of the world where there are a lot of problems, especially when it comes to the situation of women. But Bhutan, we've always said, and it's true also, that we are far more fortunate in terms of Bhutanese women and girls have access to education, health care, and the Constitution guarantees our rights. We are, of course, a country known for its happiness. And I would say yes, largely we are very happy. Of course, that shouldn't make us complacent. And because Bhutan opened up so late and we have been modernization has taken place over such a short span of time, we do have issues, especially when it comes to women's empowerment. I think we would like to see a far greater participation and representation of women in the higher levels of the government and especially in politics now. Bhutan is just like any other place. People are surprised that the level of domestic violence is actually quite high for a country so small. It's true that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this area. Of course, since 2004, under the patronage of Her Majesty the Queen Mother, who's currently the UNFPA Goodwill Ambassador, they introduced Renew, a civil society organization, just to address this issue. And they've been working, Her Majesty herself and her team of people have been working tirelessly since 2004 to create awareness, to ensure that we can address this issue. But of course, recent surveys still show that women still feel their spouse, about almost 70% of women feel that their spouse is justified in hitting them if they, for example, burn a curry or fail in one of the domestic duties. So, of course, there's still some ways to go. But the recent Domestic Violence Prevention Act that was recently passed in 2013 was a big step forward, especially in addressing domestic violence. Well, I've been a member of SWAN for a number of years now, and I think it's very important when we have this kind of platform to be able to share our experiences and then also look to best practices from each country to see how we can also get some ideas to improve the situation in our own country. I think we could, of course, do a lot more, but then that would entail our governments also formally recognizing SWAN and translating into financial support, because of course, in order for us to carry on partnerships across the board, we're going to need funding.
When we talk of changing the mindsets, is that first of all, you have to see the state mindset. Then it percolates down to changing the mindset of the people. But when the same mindset is set mind for certain kind of things, that you don't want to change certain kind of things, certain kind of narratives, then obviously it becomes very difficult to change the mindset of the people at the same time. Since it is very politically vibrant, our state, we have AFSPA, we have many insecurities kind of a thing, which doesn't give us a guarantee of life, to have a proper way of life, like to have a free life, I mean to say that to have a secure life. It is not for women only. When your man is insecure, the woman automatically becomes vulnerable to the many situations, like I mean, because AFSPA gives you a simple entry to your kitchens also, and they are not accountable. So obviously this has made whole situation very tense, very kind of hostile at the same time, I should say. So so changing of mindsets becomes little more difficult. So when the one is the we call it an oppressors, and so other becomes oppressed. So where is the meeting point, and where is the changing of the mindset? It becomes little difficult, but we need to change our mindsets, definitely. So we need to have more workshops on this, because this is important now. We live at the age because we have gone through hell, especially the conflicts, and the conflicts are not going to stop there only. It can become the flashpoints for any kind of other things, you know. So I think this is very important. We need to address this as soon as possible, I think. Since I belong to the media and I teach media students, I think the national media is more militarized than the AFSPA itself, which is very, we need to address that kind of a thing, because it is too noisy about Kashmir. And it is it's doing great harm to the peace building of the two nations, that is India and Pakistan, and we are being crushed in between, which is very, very bad for our youth, for we people, for we as a women. So I mean, it's been a very unfortunate situation that media is really playing with the kind of situations of Kashmir. Let me tell you honestly, the people are getting more educated about the situation, and I'm dealing with the young boys and girls, because they are at the age of 21, 22 when they come to the university, and I see that if I am ready to change the mindset, but they are not ready to change the mindset, because they have seen the very oppressed kind of an atmosphere, and they've been brought up in that kind of an atmosphere. They are conflict born people. So it is very difficult to make them understand. Then we can think beyond certain kind of points. That is the difficulty.
One that we have been able to change is the women, you know, regarding women. It was, as you know, that the mindset in South Asian countries was culturally, the women did not have a voice. Her only place was in the kitchen. She would have babies and cook, and she was not even allowed mobility. She couldn't go out of the house. With the NGOs came microcredit, and they had to go and take their loans, return their loans. And with the success of their business, whatever money they had in their hand, that money, she improved her life. You see, that empowered her. Her new confidence brought her respect from her family. Even her husband found in her a change, that she could make decisions, she could do business, she could improve herself. That was the mindset, and this is all over Bangladesh affecting 20 million women. It's done by Grameen Bank, by BRAC, by ASHA. So these women, and it is the bottom of the pyramid in Bangladesh. Other mindsets to be changed is, I find where women is concerned, it's right at the top of the ceiling that we don't have too many women. I don't see too many managing directors, CEOs, so maybe that's where we need to have more women there. The mindset I would like to see would be in politics, where women could come. They are ready, and I think the Bangladesh people also want the women to come up in direct elections, because now that they come under reserve seats, they are so grateful and obliged to their party that they just speak what the party wants them to speak. And we want the women to speak take up women's issues. Domestic violence is shocking, because in the circle I move, I don't think that I see domestic violence, and yet one morning I opened the papers and I found there was a report saying that 78% of women say that they have some sort of domestic violence, and that shocked me. It shocked all my friends. It shocked all the men also, and they refused to believe it. Microcredit, when it first came, I remember Dr. Yunus, where he works in groups, he said that the husbands complained that I cannot beat up my wife anymore, because then the group turns up in the evening. The groups of 5 borrowers, they come that next day we don't want to hear or see that you beat your wife. So that was group strength, and I thought that would, yes, we have to fight against domestic violence for sure. Yes, it helps a lot. In fact, you know, whenever I've come here, there's such a strong bonding. You never realize that she's from a different country, she's from a different religion. We sit, we bond, we have the same problems, we have the same issues. Success stories are exchanged, and then we learn from the other success. We go back and say, but you know, India does this and this country does this. It helps a lot. And what impresses me is the friendship. They become like sisters here, really, really.
Changing the mindset mean to me is like a ideological revolution, because a lot of the patriarchy values and the practice are rooted in our society. It's not very visible. Sometimes it's invisible. So changing mindset for me is like an ideological revolution. Women need to be empowered to break out the cultural values and some traditional values, and men, because from the patriarchy point of view, men thinks they are superior to women, so they also need to change their mindset. Sometimes glass ceilings are women themselves, because you know the women are rarely to hold the top position, so they don't give the opportunities to other women. So sometimes women themselves are glass ceilings to the other women, and also the domestic violence, not physically, in the mentally, in the sexually, in every form of domestic violence exists in our society. I think that existing law is not enough to protect women. Now the lower house in the parliament passed 2 laws. It's called the interfaith marriage law that oppresses women's rights, the violates women's rights. Is the intention of the law is that prevent Buddhist women not to marry the non-Buddhist men. The reserve seat is for 25 reserve seat is for the military, not for women. Now I think nearly 6% of the women are in parliament. The number is 29, only 29 women in our parliament out of the 658 parliamentarians. And we also have 2 women ministers now. So this is we can say this is some progress. And now that there are a lot of women's organizations emerge, and they're working on the women issues. So that can say that. I need the capacities, I need to learn more, and because I see many women's academic women and intellectual women, so our education is very poor. So I think I need this give me the lesson learned is that I need to learn more and more.
Conferences like this, maybe it's more of right now. It's more of sharing experiences of what happening in our own regions, in our own communities. But I think at the end of the conference, we should come up with some kind of recommendation, or how to go to the next level. Maybe especially when bringing men and young boys on board in order to change the whole mindsets.
We're going in for a short break, and we'll be back after these messages.